See them. We're
'Kay.
good.
I'm
Got
recording on
Discord.
Zoom. I'm ready.
I'm ready.
What episode? Episode 3.
Episode 3, I think.
Yeah, this is
Could be
episode
4.
3. When I uploaded the last episode, I accidentally put episode 3, the origin story.
Oh, yeah, because there's only 2. I'm so
Yeah.
bad at that.
Me too. We only have 3, and I keep messing up.
Yeah, I can't even imagine when it gets to like 10.
10 is a lot.
I know,
I
right?
1,000. A lot
That's
of the
insane.
podcasts I listen to are at 600, 500. Some are at 1,000.
Yeah.
It's so strange.
That's crazy to think about. Like, I think Joe Rogan is at like 1,200 or something.
He has so many.
That's
It's so
too
crazy
many.
to hear his podcast, and he's talking about his early episodes and how he obviously wasn't who he is now. That's so bananas. Imagine just doing something in your room and and like, I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, and it
what this will
becomes
be.
something else. Like, it just grows, becomes something crazy, and now you're talking to Kanye.
That's so nuts. Who knows who we'll talk to? Imagine if we got George Condo on this podcast. What if somehow we got Banksy and he was like an anonymous like voice? What if we did? Oh my
And
god.
we could like decode his voice. It'd be like, brr, brr, brr.
That would be so nuts. That's, oh my god. Please, in the future, I hope we can like cut and show this clip to us in the future.
Yeah,
And, like, we did it, guys.
that's so sick. We actually have a guest planned for next week,
We
or
do.
not even next week. I think this Friday, right?
Yeah, we want to start doing 2 episodes a week. One where it's just us, and then one where it's a guest. Maybe sometimes guest twice. Who knows?
Yeah, but at least 2 a week. I think, well, 2 week max. At least 1, hopefully 2 a week, and then 1 with a guest. I think that's the way to go.
Yeah, it's so funny. Me and JW were talking. We're like, dang, the podcast is so fun. We love it. Let's do more. Just because we like talking to each other and it's
Yeah.
fun. And it's a fun hobby because I do so much art and I'm always working or thinking about work things. And the podcast is just, I get to sit with my friend and we get to talk about whatever we want. And I love art and connecting with people too.
Yeah, we normally do this anyways now. Like, we started
Right.
talking almost every day, right? So
Yeah.
it's cool that people enjoy hearing it. So it's like, we might as well record one more because we're going to do it regardless.
It's so funny. I was listening to a podcast yesterday. I was drawing, listening to this podcast, and I was thinking, like, this is technically a boring conversation I'm listening to. It's just these 2 guys sitting, talking about how they had dinner together. And it was the most, they're like, oh, you had the steak and I didn't like the steak. It was the most unnecessary, boring conversation. But as I was drawing, I loved it. I felt like I was there hearing this super dope talk with 2 buddies. So it made me feel less insecure about this podcast. And I don't know. I hope people, when they're making art, they connect the same way or feel close. I don't know.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think people are interested. They get like connected to people on podcasts. But now that you mention that, I've become super critical when I listen to podcasts. I'm like, how do they start? What do they talk about?
Yeah.
Why do people listen to this? It's been really interesting to like look at podcasts in a different way.
It totally is. Just because when you're drawing, you don't think about it. So when you analyze it, it's just, wow, these people are kind of boring right now, but I'm loving it. This is
Yeah.
amazing.
You're just so connected to them, like you don't even care.
Right.
And hopefully we have that someday where people are like, these people are boring. This is terrible, but I love them.
Right. Like, this is my, imagine being a favorite podcast. I hope that would be so dope.
That
I
would
don't
be
know.
pretty cool.
A favorite podcast. What's your
What's
favorite
more cool?
podcast? Art.
What's
Excuse
more
me, are you
cool,
okay?
being someone's favorite artist or having their favorite podcast?
Oh,
Definitely
I don't
art.
know. art. I mean, being an artist, yeah, but podcast is just different because
Yeah.
because art is you like my thoughts and I made them look like pretty and cool and but the podcast is you like my thoughts and I did not make them look pretty. They're the worst form of my thoughts and I'm stuttering
and you had to hear them.
Have my saliva noises when I'm speaking and you like it? What in the world?
Yeah, when you put it that way, it's actually insane that people like would say that. Like they enjoy this. Like that means a lot that people sit through this, hear my voice, and enjoy it. Like that's huge.
Especially the subject of art. Art is like life. There's art everywhere and it's art history. It's just a big part of the world and living. And for you to say your favorite podcast is this one, especially an art podcast where we talk about art, I feel like that's such a big honor. I don't know. I don't know. That's just crazy to me. I don't know how to express that. I say I don't know a lot. I'm acknowledging it. I'm sorry.
Hey, we're getting better. Episode 3 by 5 we'll be pros, okay?
Yeah. Before this talk, we're like, okay, what do you do that isn't good? How do we improve?
Yeah, we made like a list. We're trying to like cut out all the and likes,
Here are the things we don't like.
Honestly, though, we've done 3 of these and we've talked like without recording a bunch, but I already feel so much more comfortable talking and just more comfortable even hearing my own voice. I know a lot of people don't like hearing their own voice, and I was the same, right? But it's only been 3 episodes in and I feel so much better. Highly recommend it. Way better.
Hearing your own voice is the biggest letdown. I heard my voice and I said, oh, I thought I sounded cooler.
This is how everyone in my entire life has heard me.
Right. I'm like, how do I have friends? Why
people like me? No, I'm the same exact way. It's weird, but the more you do it, it just gets easier, right? So our first little break.
Should we move subjects now?
Yeah, probably shouldn't talk about the podcast forever. The whole podcast, just podcast.
We spent an hour before this podcast making a list of what we should talk about. But the problem is that I'm so bad at transitioning into subjects. But I know it's time to switch.
It doesn't have to be smooth. It's all good. I want to
just be like, okay, now let's talk about this. So awkward.
It is, but whatever.
No, fake it till you make it. Just pretend like,
hell yeah.
Okay.
We're on episode 3. You know, a lot of people are in their thousands by now, so we're a little behind. So we'll get there.
Okay.
All right.
Future drops.
You have a
Oh. I thought we were going in order.
Oh, my bad. I was just gonna pick one.
We need to have...
All right. We might actually have to edit. No, whatever. Who cares? No, we shouldn't edit this. Just keep it.
Not. No, it's beautiful. The
it is.
You know how in art, the whole thing, like, all the mistakes are beautiful. All of our mistakes, I support.
Honestly. So, that's actually like, it's funny that you bring that up, but I've been doing that a lot with my art now, where I'll start with no expectation. I'll just start out of nowhere, and then I'll see every line as like purposeful and not a mistake. And like such a crazy way to make a piece. I don't know if you do that.
I've definitely been trying to do that lately. When you do a digital piece, do you make tons of new layers or do you just work on one?
I've been doing a lot of layers.
And not me. I just go for it. Just because, I don't know. I just want to see what happens. And I feel I relied too much on the layer. I'd be like, oh, I don't like this. I'm going to mess it up. But I feel most of the time in art, my favorite thing is to see the background. Like just a tiny little layer that you covered. And in digital, I know there's no texture. Like you can't touch it and you can't see the lift off the canvas. But sometimes when you use a brush that isn't fully what is the word? Opaque? Is it opaque? What is
Yeah.
the word? Yeah.
Yeah, the
You can
opacity's down.
yeah. You can see behind it, and you can see the mess up before, and just
Yeah.
something about that, or just like if you had red and then you covered it with blue and you can see a tiny bit of red in the background.
Yeah, it
That's
becomes
something.
like a different color even, but you can tell that the artist was there, they tried something, and you can see that they're thinking and trying new things. So yeah, that's probably one of my favorite things about painting. I think there's a name for it. I think it's called the rhizome effect, where
Ooh, what
you
is that? Ooh, JW bringing out the big
that might
words.
that might be something else, but it's what I think it is when you start something, a painting, like you start with a line, and then that line influences the next part, and it just keeps going, right? So instead of having a thought out conceptual idea, the painting kind of influences itself,
Yeah.
and that's usually a lot more interesting.
I realize when I make a sketch, obviously I think about my sketch before I I start painting, but I think when you connect things, like you let the painting influence itself, you kind of realize that your sketch, some parts don't make sense. I'll look at my sketch and be like, "Oh, that really didn't make sense with this theme that I'm trying to go for. Why did I draw that?" When I'm
Right.
just letting it flow naturally, it connects and it does make sense. And I feel you can see my passion towards it more instead of following this strict thing that I planned before.
Yeah, I'm the same way, and I've actually like have been really struggling with that. If you go back to my work, maybe like a year ago, it's really funny. That's kind of cocky to say about my own work, but you can tell it's one idea that I came up with beforehand, like
Mhm.
like the deer with the antlers that say fuck, right?
Mhm.
You wouldn't just make that like painting out of nowhere. Like obviously I came up with that and then I executed it. But lately I've been trying to just let the paintings kind of influence themselves. And like that sounds a lot easier, right? Where it's just whatever happens, happens. But it's so foreign to me. It's actually been a lot harder. And I kind of
Really?
I've gained a lot of respect for abstract artists because when you have no plan, you're just like floating, like you can't like reference a sketch or anything. So that's been a crazy way to make art recently.
For me, it's been a balance. Trying to have that the concrete sketch and being like, I'm gonna follow this. And then when I realize I don't like it, I'm like, well, why do I have to go through with this? I'm gonna just do whatever. So most of the time I go halfway through my sketch, or I'll have a concept of a face and I do that part, but then I'm like, ooh, this would be cooler. And then I just change everything and I do whatever I want. I feel like the balance is so fun.
Yeah. And like even when I do sketch an idea for a painting, by the end of it, it looks so different anyways. So it's like, why did I guess the sketch is just kind of to preserve an idea. I don't really follow it.
Do you ever do a sketch and you think this is gonna look so cool, but then you paint it out and you're like, oh, that did not. That was
Yeah.
a terrible idea.
That's like most of my work. I'll have an idea and then put it onto a canvas and it just needs something more. And I don't know, sometimes I get like stuck where it's like, oh, it doesn't look like the sketch. But it's like, that's good. Like you want to push it further. And the sketch is just the starting point.
Right.
So then you kind of have that thing where you have a built up idea, but then you let the painting tell you where to go. And I think that's the best mixture. It's not
Agreed.
completely abstract, but you're letting it happen.
Gotta let the art flow.
Have you been doing I just said became very aware of that. Have you been doing any physical paintings recently?
No, I've just been working on digital. And actually, the other day, though, I bought oil paints and oil sticks because Zach Thompson
Nice.
said, try these out. You will love it. And I said, okay. So I bought them knowing I wouldn't really be doing physical work for a while. I'm focusing on commissions. But now that I have them, sometimes randomly I'm like, I'm going to draw a little smiley face. Just because I don't know. It's fun to mess around with it. and try these new mediums. Although I don't have time right now to fully explore it, I think about it all the time. So I feel when I'm done with these commissions and some other projects, I'm just gonna go full force and work on these giant canvases and just let it out.
Yeah, you got the fire burning. That's the best way
Yeah.
to be. I love doing that with different materials. I don't understand how some people can just stick to one medium and that's all they do. Recently, I bought a whole bunch of spray paint, and every time I'm like a little bored, I'll go out to my garage and like spray paint like on my garage door.
Is that hard?
No, I love
Because
spray
spray
paint.
paint looks hard to me because it's like it's not, you can't control it. I mean, you can
Right.
control it, but like you can't hold it like a marker.
Yeah, you definitely have less control, but that's kind of more fun in that way almost. But
I'm scared of it. I want to try it though. It looks so fun. It looks cool.
yeah, trying new materials and just like not expecting to make great art, that's always been super inspiring to me. Just like doodling for fun, just because I like it. I love those oil sticks, by the way. Those are one of my favorite materials for sure.
I was looking at it and they came in a nice little package. I was too scared to open them. I said, this is too nice. I feel like I don't deserve this. I don't know.
And
Every
they're
time I get
expensive.
nice material, yeah. Every time I get nice materials, I feel like I can't. I'm intimidated.
Right.
But then you
I
start
feel
using
like
them,
we're-
and it's like I bought this, so I use it, and then you use it.
Yeah. I'm the same way where it's like I'll spend all this money on paint, I'll make a painting, and then just paint over it. But it's like that's what was supposed to happen, so that's okay to me. Like it does sound
Right.
wasteful, but when I'm thinking too much about how much paint I'm using, I don't know, it takes me out of it. So I'm very privileged that I'm can afford paint and not really think about that too much. But I'm also just using like acrylic, so it's not like oil.
Sometimes I'll put a lot of blue, and I look at that blue. I'm like, that's a lot of blue. That I use a lot of blue right there. And I get nervous to use, but then I already squirted it out. So like, why am I nervous? Use it.
Yeah. It's like a weird mental roadblock, but I feel the same way.
But then you get past it, and you're like, yeah, I got this thick stroke of blue right here. It looks amazing. And then you get excited, and you just start painting and going.
That's great. Wow, we flowed into that by accident. This isn't even on the topics.
Oh, I have a question. You
Yep.
You painted on a sign.
Yeah.
How did you think to do that? Because it's a sign.
Um,
I just would not think. I don't know. I look at signs and I don't connect.
Right. That was for a project, one of my classes, and we were talking about symbols. In a lot of my work, actually, like I have a lot of symbols that I repeat, like the street signs, like triangles, even like you just look at my work, you see a lot of the same things over and over again. So I was thinking, like, why don't I get one of these symbols and make that the canvas? And that was the whole prompt. That was all I started with. Like, that'd be kind of cool to have something I paint physical and then paint something on top of it. It's like this weird meta double painting thing, you know?
No, it's so dope, especially because you add signs in your art so much that when you did that, I'm like, whoa, you're expanding. This is cool.
Yeah, always trying new things, right? Instead of just like sticking to digital or canvas. It's refreshing.
I want to paint an instrument. I want to paint a really nice piano or something. My
That'd be
dream
sick.
is for like an artist to be, like a musical artist, to be on stage, and the piano they're using is like this beautiful piano that I painted. I don't know. I feel like that would be really cool. But it sounds annoying to like, I don't know.
I could
Do
see
you
that
agree?
happening. I can already picture it, like this piano with a lot of blue and like these big eyes and fire. Like,
Yeah.
that looks sick on stage.
I just want to paint everything, but it would take forever. Sometimes I'm
That's
like,
why you
maybe
need
I'll
spray
design
paint.
something and you need to put it over, like a sticker, like how you can have
Right.
skins for your phone. Like, what if I just drew something and they wrapped it? But also painting
That's less
something,
fun.
all the texture, and you know that you sat there for a long time, and worked on it.
Yeah, there's a ton of value. Like that physical texture shows that you were there, you spent your time. Like that's one of the reasons why texture is so nice. Like it proves that.
Love texture.
Yeah. I guess like that kind of segues into taking risks, like potentially risking a lot of material on one painting, but it's worth it sometimes, right? Of course, you're gonna like waste a lot of paint, but
It's so funny taking risks. I had this one canvas where I did not sketch out anything. I just painted eyes and this face that I saw the face in my head and I tried to draw it, but I didn't think about it. I didn't like do proportions or nothing. I just went for it. It looked terrible because I didn't I didn't measure nothing and I didn't think about it. But something about that underpainting, when I painted over it, you could still see like the texture of the messed up one that I did, and it looked so pretty. And I think if I did a sketch, I would have psyched myself out by making it so perfect. But because I messed up, I was like, well, I messed up. Let's just fix it. And I don't know. I had the mentality that I kind of already messed up and that nothing mattered. And I just went.
Right.
And I didn't have these high expectations. I just went for it. And I think it's one of my best paintings. And I'm just really proud of it. So
yeah,
there's something to be
I
said
think
about that risk.
totally. I remember in my last semester of school, I was doing these paintings on, I think it was the yellow canvas paintings. And to like allow myself to make looser, less thought out work, I would go to my school has this like paint shed where you're supposed to like, if you make a hole in your wall or like you paint on your studio wall at the end of the semester, you can like patch it up or paint it up. So I would like grab some of the paint and like borrow their paint. But by using that paint, it wasn't valuable to me. Like I didn't directly pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd use that, make these really loose paintings. And by doing that, like it was the same way where you thought you already failed. So it's like, it didn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Like that put me in the same headspace where it's like, this isn't my paint. Like I can do whatever.
Right.
So if you can just get to that point, regardless of how, I think a lot of interesting work is made that way.
Yeah, losing control on a piece and just flowing. You just go. You don't necessarily be like, oh, this and this. And you think about it a little bit, but you don't really stop yourself and freeze yourself because you get so nervous. At least that's what I would do. If I think too much, I get nervous and I stare at my piece like it's a math problem. I'm like, okay, how do I
you get tight?
Yeah.
And you get like focused, right? So you have to let go. And like I like to stop and look at it from a distance. That's like almost generic, like how many times you hear that, but it really does work.
What I've been doing, especially with digital work, I was talking to my friend Christina, and I said, Christina, I have a problem. I look at my art and I have been staring at it for so long that I feel crazy and that it doesn't make sense to me. Or it's so ingrained in my brain that I can't see what I like about it anymore. I just see all this stuff that I don't like, and then I fix it and I see whatever. I was driving myself crazy. So she said, turn it upside down.
Yeah.
And then I started doing that. Dude, changed my mind. I love it.
Yeah, there's tons of artists that do that. I can't remember her name, but I had to write an essay on this one artist. It bugs me. But her whole style is she'll paint something, maybe an hour will go by, she'll flip it, and then now that's the painting, and then she'll work on the painting as if that's how it's supposed to be. I'm going to do that. Flip it again, keep going. Like, it's a really interesting approach.
I love that. Or I'll walk to the mirror and just look at my painting, and I'm like, hey, what's up?
That's always weird looking at it in the mirror. It really shows like how bad my proportions are sometimes.
Same. Do you ever draw I guess you don't really draw people as much as I do.
Not really.
Sometimes I draw people and I look in the mirror, like I'll take it, I'm like, whoa, this weirdly looks like me. I'm uncomfortable. I did not mean to do that.
Some like subconscious thing where you're like drawing yourself maybe.
Yeah, I subconsciously make it look like me.
That's cool.
I was gonna say something, but I forgot. I was so excited. Do you ever get so excited you forget what you were gonna say?
I think you probably get a bit more excited than me.
Yeah, because I start yelling and then it just disappears.
Yeah, I internalize my excitement a bit more.
Why? No, I let it out.
I'm still a very excitable person. Like, my girlfriend, to say she gets annoyed is like the wrong way to put it. But like, I get very excited to like, oh, we're gonna get sushi. Like, and I get so hyped up. Like, I look forward to it so much. And she's like, yeah, we're gonna get sushi. It's gonna be cool. But I'm like, oh, this is gonna make my week. Like, I can't like well, you wouldn't know. Like, I feel like you're like dancing around, but inside my head, I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna get sushi. I can't wait.
No, I'm very physically expressive. Yesterday I was working on a project. I was working on a collab, and the artist sent me a draft. And the draft was so cool. I was eating mashed potatoes because the other day was Thanksgiving. So I had all these mashed potatoes and I was eating it. And I was just running around the kitchen so excited. Like, this is so cool.
I wish you filmed that.
Yeah. I was telling him, I feel like he didn't believe me. Sometimes I feel like I tell people how excited I am for something. And I think they think I'm like lying. Being like, oh, I'm so excited. And they're like, yeah, okay. But seriously, I am so passionate about everything. I don't know why. I just am. I feel it in my soul, in my heart.
That's a great way to be.
Run around. Sometimes I get tired. Like when I make my videos where I'm excited, be like, oh my God. After that, I'm like, I need to take a nap. Because I get so pumped up that I'm just like, I'm tired. I think it's because when I draw, I'm sitting in silence for hours the whole day talking to nobody. Or sometimes I am in calls, but it's so serious.
Yeah.
I'm drawing. Yeah. And I can't focus on the actual conversation. So when I'm not in my room by myself, being awkward and lonely, watching YouTube videos, then I'm like, well, why am I going to be quiet? I was quiet the whole day. I want to let it out and speak.
Yeah. No, I definitely relate to that too. Like 8 hours into a painting, haven't spoken all day, right? You get like an email or something cool happens and they just like freak out.
Yeah. Oh no. Talking to artists is so fun.
Oh no. I took a drink while we had a pause. Bad time.
Oh, it's okay.
We were talking about taking risks and we kind of skipped over it, but I think besides like physically painting, like using a lot of paint or whatever you mentioned, like being an artist, there is a ton of risks just in general. Like,
yeah,
outside of painting, just the act of being an artist is super risky, right?
Right.
And I think a lot of people listening to this, like, would appreciate like hearing how we have taken risks and seeing how it's gone good or bad. I think probably the biggest flop for me, if we're just going to start with the bad, I remember this was a while ago, probably 4 years ago, didn't have a lot of money, and I bought a whole bunch of these pins, right? And I made these pin packs. Like they're sick. I like them. There's 3 different pins, and I don't even know how much I was pricing them for, but I was hyping them up on Instagram for like a week. And then the drop happens, and I literally sold 0. Like,
do you still have the pins?
I've given them away over like 4 years, like just throwing them in orders. And
Jonathan Wolfe pins. I feel like you're the perfect guy for pins.
They missed out.
Pins? Dude, I need a cow pin right here.
That would be pretty sick, yeah. Especially like an enamel one, like where it's like the raised enamel.
I love that.
Hopefully they'll
need to do that.
Sell out this time.
Oh my God. Dude,
have you ever had any? Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, especially cow stuff. People love the cow stuff. Have you ever had a drop that didn't go how you expected it?
Dude, oh my God. Thinking about it, my heart, it breaks into 2. I did this painting, not a painting. It was a digital painting, a digital drawing. And something about it, the shading I was so proud of it. Looking back at it now, it's not good. It's not amazing. It's not spectacular. It doesn't really stand out compared to the rest of my work. But something about this drawing, I loved it. So I said, ooh, I want to make shirts. And it was this red shirt. And I was so excited because I love the color red. I think it looks red. I think it looks nice.
Yeah.
And so I ordered like 60 of these shirts. And I talk about it. I get excited, prepare this drop. And I'm just so excited because it's this cool painting that I did. And I'm like, I never see paintings like this on a shirt. This is so dope. Like, I feel like people would want this. And I got so confident and excited. I was proud of this work I did. I love the color red. It's my painting on a red shirt. The drop happens. I sold 2. And in my loft right now, I just have all of them sitting there. And I was so embarrassed to tweet that, like, to keep tweeting that they didn't sell out, that I just deleted it and I didn't talk about it because I was so embarrassed and I didn't want
Just
anyone
hope no
to
one
know.
noticed.
Yeah. So I just deleted it
Damn.
and I have all these shirts in my room.
You have infinite painting rags.
That's true. I want to do a giveaway one day, but also to pack all of those shirts would take me so long, and packing takes forever.
Honestly, that's kind of all part of the game, though. Like, not every drop's going to be a huge sellout drop, right? And I don't, especially when you like do a drop, you spend so much time on it and it flops. Like, that's super heartbreaking. Like, I can't imagine how you felt, right? But for me, when like the pin, like my pins didn't sell out, it's 4 years ago. I was a lot less mature, and I was like, oh, like that's it. Like, just get used to this feeling. Like, this is how like drops are gonna be. But like my last drop sold out in a couple minutes, like a couple hundred shirts and all that crap, right? So I think it's important to know, like, yeah, like our drops do really well now, but we've had some like really bad ones before. And I think when you see people like, oh, drop sold out in 4 seconds, like, you just have to know, like, it's not always like that.
Right. I think because of those flops in the beginning, it prepared me for the future. And in the future now, when I do drops, I feel like you don't recognize your growth because you're yourself.
Yeah.
And so you don't really, you see growth every day, but at the same time, you don't realize how much of a growth it has been since that time.
Yeah, it's so gradual.
Yeah. So when I have new drops now, I'm like, nobody's going to want it. Why would anyone want it? And I think about it and I freak myself out because I'm so used to that, all those fails. But the point I was trying to make is that I go through with it anyway. And it doesn't, I don't fail. I didn't know how to make it sound smart though.
No, I agree. You kind of just have to keep going and like adapt from the last one. And it's cheesy, but like if you stop now, like they're not going to get better, right? So
yeah,
kind of like a super niche topic, I think. I don't know. I feel like every artist just drops in their own way. It's kind of
or print drops.
Yeah, that's kind of like the way to do it nowadays. Instead of like having shirts available 24/7, like you have a drop and then it sells out or something.
Well, the problem with shirts though is because we're not these big giant corporations, you know? The idea of a drop is just cool because it's dramatic and it's like, ooh, it's limited. Get it now, and it's an occasion. This drop, the Jonathan Wolfe clothing drop, that's a moment. So it sounds super cool, but also keep in mind we're not these giant companies that can afford to have all these shirts in the back that they'd be available
taking
all
up
year.
Space.
Unless we did print on demand, but I don't like that. I like having my stuff. So we kind of have to do drops to be able to afford
Yeah.
it. So there's that side.
Also, like, while we're still talking about drops, isn't that like the best feeling in the world when it goes to plan?
It's amazing. How did you feel when you did your drop? I remember you texting me. You were like, I'm nervous. And I said, dude, why? Or no, this is why. I wanted to buy one of your paintings. And I said, JW,
Yeah.
JW, JW. And you said, what? And I said, I want to buy a painting. When are you doing a job? And you were talking to me about it and you seemed like nervous about it. In my head, it was without question. You were going to sell out. But you were like, I don't know. So how did that feel when you were nervous that it sold out and that all these people wanted it? And there were people tweeting screenshots like, oh my God, it sold out. I didn't get it. How did that feel?
Honestly, insane. That like really proved to me that all the years I've put into this, like, were worth it, and people actually want the things that I make. Like I feel like that first drop I did, I don't even know, 6 months ago. I have no idea. Like, that was another really big thing in my career so far that proved to me that this is worth it. Like, just checking my email, like I get an email every time I get a sale, right? I was with my mom, I think, and I turned the volume up. I was like, hey mom, like, hear this. And it was just like boom, 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 boom. Like, insane. Like, that feeling is unmatched.
Yeah. It feels, I don't know the word, like otherworldly. It's so overwhelming.
Yeah.
You just feel like this is my moment. It's really what it feels like.
Yeah, totally. You spend so much time, you spend all this money on like shirts or whatever, or just time on paintings. You have no clue if anyone's going to buy them. And the thing with drops too, you have a group of people that are very vocal. They're like, oh, I want this so bad. And like, say you have a very vocal group of 50 people and you're like, oh, like, I have 200 shirts though. And like only 50 people are talking about them. But there's so many people like behind the scenes that are just like lurking. They don't say anything. And then the drop happens. They show up. Like, that was really telling to me as well. Like, I thought like my group of friends would help me out and like grab a tea or something, but like complete people I've never even like seen before, like waiting for it. That's so insane to me.
Yeah, you would be surprised how many people are just watching, but they don't say anything.
Yeah.
Maybe because they're too shy, or I don't know. But there's a lot of people who are there, like silent supporters. Like when, like, do you ever look at your art and think, oh, each of those likes is a person? Like that's someone who
That's
saw
so
that.
weird to me.
It's so strange. So yeah, there's those silent supporters. And do you ever see the tweets where people say, I'm gonna be in work while this happens, I'm gonna have a little break, or I'm in the bathroom right now at work, I'm gonna it's so crazy.
Yeah.
I love that. Or people will tell you what they're doing when you announce the time of your drop. And or some people, I did my drop and someone was like, oh, that's my birthday, this is gonna be my birthday gift to myself. I wanted to cry. That is so cool. Just that people care. And the thing about the
Honestly.
drops too, it's not about obviously the money part is exciting because I invested all my money trying to get these shirts and prints and everything printed.
Yeah. Especially when you're starting, you literally invest all your money. Like,
yeah, for real. It's scary. And so you see your bank account and you're like, oh my God. And you can see like the activity for me, like I see the activity. The last thing was thousands of dollars on all these shirts. And then now my money's way lower. And I'm thinking, oh man, what am I going to do? And the drop happens and you feel this relief that, okay, people care and I made my money back. But there's that whole realization point where you're like, oh, people see me and hear me and like me and feel for clothing, they feel confident enough that they want to wear your shirt
Yep.
around. That's a
Yep.
whole other aspect. That someone thinks your shirt is so cool that they want to wear it. What the heck? I love that.
Yeah. With a painting, you can hide it in your house. Like, you think it's cool, but no one else is going to see it. When you buy a shirt, though, you think that's cool enough to like wear in public around your friends. Like, that's quite an honor, honestly.
Do you have a shirt where like you wake up one day and you're like, okay, what am I gonna whatever for the day? I have certain shirts where I think this one, like I feel like this is my lucky shirt. I like this shirt. And I always wonder if my shirt is that to someone.
Yeah.
Where they're gonna have
That's
a
cool
big
to think
day
about.
and they decide to pick your shirt. I feel like that's dope.
That's wild. I think that kind of ties into another one of our topics that I'd like to talk about. Pretty good segue. Thank you.
Yeah. JW
That was
out
not
here
our
with
best.
the segues. I never
But-
make segues. I just wait for you to do it.
And then we just talk about one thing the whole episode because I'm
Yeah.
waiting for you.
Oh.
You mentioned with drops, like, yeah, you can make a ton of money doing them, right? Like, that's obviously a plus side, right?
Mhm.
And that kind of goes to show how the idea of the starving artist is such a bad thing to perpetuate to people trying to be an artist nowadays.
Mm.
There's so many ways to make money with art now that if you're like, I think for me, I was listening to people outside of art tell me how art is, right?
Mhm.
But they're outside of the art world. And yeah, a lot of artists don't make money. Obviously, like, not everyone's going to make it, or else everyone would be an artist.
Mhm.
But it's so different now. And I was listening to people who had no idea, and I thought they were right. Like, I thought if you wanted to be an artist, you had to be poor. But like,
Uh-huh.
that's such a backwards way to think about it nowadays.
I think my family and just people at school, or I was talking to my school counselor, my high school counselor. I forgot what artist he brought up, but he said, "Oh, well, he didn't get famous till he died." And I said,
Yeah,
"Why
he was
would you
probably
tell
in
me
the
this?"
1800s. Like,
Yeah. So the whole thing of bringing up old, first of all, it's not about being famous, but bringing up they weren't successful till after they died, or they didn't sell paintings for millions until after they died. I'm not trying to sell paintings for millions. I just want, there's so much you can do. You can sell prints, you can sell stickers, you can do clothes. There's commissions now. There's so many crypto art now. There's so much to do, and random little things I never thought about. Like, I've been trying to find a web designer for my website, and they're like just looking for that. Like, there's so many like things that you don't think about for everything. Or a logo, like you just little logo commissions. Or now I see artists doing portrait commissions on Twitter. Just like, I'll draw your avatar.
yeah,
For-
$10, I'll draw your guy.
There's
The intro to the song,
there's so
we
many little
commission
things
someone.
to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, we commissioned Juno. Like, just anything can and also there's opportunities that you will get that you don't know that you will get, because you don't know who's watching. Those silent supporters. Sometimes I look at my Instagram and there's people following me that I'm a ginormous fan of, and I think to myself, how did you find me? And the other day they DM me and they said, "Oh, you want to work together?" And I didn't
you
even
never know what's going to happen.
Yeah. And they're like, "Oh, I knew of you for a while." So you don't know who knows who you are or what's going to happen. But yeah, the whole thing about the starving artist is just so, I hate that, because it kind of forces you, your confidence isn't as high, at least for me, because it's something that was reinforced and told to me all the time.
Totally. And the way I thought about it was, yeah, a lot of artists don't make money, but I think I'm a pretty good bet. I was really confident in myself, and that took a long time to get there, right? But I think I'm a pretty good bet. I'm going to bet on myself. Seems like a good idea. And then now it's working out, right? But yeah, I think you really have to think about who's telling you what?
Mhm.
Like your high school counselor, like they want to give you like a stable career idea, and then you come in there saying you want to be an artist. They're like, let's not do that. Like, how about
Yeah.
this first? And for a lot of people, like, there's no harm in having another job, or like if that's how your situation works out, like that's totally cool.
Mhm.
No shame in that, right? But telling people like, oh, you'll be famous after you die, or like you only sell once you're like old or whatever. That's such a like negative way to go about it. And it's just not true.
Right. And I like what you said about betting on yourself. Because if you don't bet on yourself, who else will?
Yeah.
Who else is going to see like like when you first started, no one cared about like Jonathan Wolfe. No one knew who you were or saw your art. Nobody cared. Why would they care? But you bet on yourself and you just go for it and make that art, and even if it's ugly at first and you just keep going.
Even
And
when
it's
it
still a little bit
is
ugly, but you
ugly
keep
at
going.
first.
Yeah. And you just do it because you love it and you believe in you, then other people see, oh, okay. And
Yeah.
then you keep going. Not for them, but just because you love it and you know this is what you want to do.
Yeah.
It just shows people, and I don't know. You
Yeah.
have
And
to be the one that bets the most on yourself because no
for
one else
sure.
will ever be more
Yeah.
than you.
If you don't believe in yourself the most, like it's really hard to convince other people, right? And
Right.
when I was first starting, I wouldn't have thought of myself as a good bet, you know? I was like, oh yeah, I'm good, but it's like I have a long ways to go. So when I was really young, I made like a conscious effort to get good. Like I spent so many hours every single day, like barely hung out with friends, didn't play video games, like just drawing constantly until I had that confidence in myself, right?
Mhm.
And now it's like, yeah, I believe in myself. Why else? Like why would I be doing this if I didn't believe in myself, you know?
Right.
And what I'm trying to say is like, if you're not there now, like if you don't believe in yourself now, yeah, it takes time.
And I hope people don't take this as like cockiness, like, oh, like believe in yourself. Because I hate artists who are super cocky and confident.
Yeah.
Or like not confident, like just cocky
Like,
and annoying about it.
yeah, not like self-aware.
Uh-huh. But you have to believe in yourself. And this isn't a, oh, we're amazing. No, no, no. It's just, no. You just have to be your even now with art, just like with anything. I feel like you just have to be the one that
Yeah.
sees you for you. And when you didn't think you were the best bet, you proved to yourself and you loved your craft, art, enough to just go.
Yeah.
And
even
learn.
when it sucked, no one cared. Like you just enjoyed it so much that it didn't matter that people didn't care or whatever.
Mhm.
Like you were just liking it for yourself, right? So
Mhm.
yeah, if you don't think you're a good bet, we're using that a lot, but I think it's a great way to think about it. Yeah, if you don't believe in yourself, why will other people? Like
Mhm.
I'm sure some people will, but like you have to be your biggest fan.
And I feel not to take that as like discouragement, be like, well, if no one else will believe in me and I don't believe in myself, what do I do? But it's just, I don't know, just go. And it doesn't matter. Like I feel like that's kind of a powerful moment where nobody cares, because it's like,
Yep.
I can do whatever I want and nobody cares. And I can make the ugliest stuff and it doesn't, because no one's watching. And I don't know, you could use that as a learning point, because I don't know, when you try so much to show yourself what you can do, you experiment and you learn all this new stuff, because you're like, okay, well, how can I show myself that I am like who I want to bet on and stuff? And so you cycle through all these styles. My sketchbook has all these different styles of stuff I didn't like. And I knew I didn't like it until I found what I liked. And then I said, ooh, I like this. Let's expand. Ooh, I like this a little bit more. Let's expand more. And just keep doing that, and you find a place that you like. And eventually maybe you'll decide, I don't like this anymore. then okay, switch up styles, learn more. Like I love learning, and I love this stuff growing.
Yeah, for sure. I think another thing that people see us online and they think of us as like artists because we are, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's so many more things in my life that inspire me outside of just art. And that's something I'm really curious about with you because I think it's unfair to think of artists as just art machines that you take in art, you make art, constant cycle where there's tons of outside influence, right?
Right.
But to me, like I see you constantly working, constantly in your studio.
Yeah.
What do you do besides painting?
What do I do? I've been reading. I know we talked about this before, but I
Right,
started
right,
reading
right.
Frankenstein.
That's sick.
Yeah, because I don't know. You always see Frankenstein Halloween, like the monster or for Halloween,
Yeah, yeah.
and I wanted to know more about it. And my last piece called "The Modern Prometheus." That's the alternate title for Frankenstein. And so I said, how can I title this the alternate title for Frankenstein and not have read Frankenstein? Or how can I love the
Right.
idea of making something like what I thought was like Frankenstein, like the mad scientist making this stuff? Like, how can I be so obsessed with that idea and not actually read the roots of this whole thing? So I've been reading Frankenstein and it's super inspiring just to see. I love finding the art that started a lot of stuff. Like I was Googling what made the look of sci-fi. Like why do we think sci-fi looks the way it does? And like sharp edges and a lot of buttons. And so I watched Blade Runner because it said, oh, the Blade Runner movie changed a lot for how things look. So I watched it and I just analyzed it. So that's what I've been doing lately. Just Googling, why does this look the way it does? And then I find the first thing and try to learn
Right.
about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a
What
lot
about
of people
you?
just think artists just do art, right?
Yeah.
But it's kind of reassuring when I hear other artists be like, "Oh, I'm like into archery or something like
Oh, no. I
totally
don't
not
have
related."
nothing like that. I feel like I should. Everything I do is like research for art.
Right. I think
Maybe that's
if you're
bad.
not getting burnt out now, like keep going. Like that's awesome. But I know for me, I love art, but I can't be involved with it 24/7. Like I have had periods where I am, but I find it really refreshing when I can like lately I've been playing like PS2 games that I used to play as a kid. That's been like oddly like super refreshing to me.
You have a
Just,
PS2?
like, yeah, I love it.
Dude, I miss my PS2. I want a Vita. The PlayStation
Oh yeah.
Vita. I want one so bad. Me and my partner's little brother, we hacked it the other day and put like emulators and stuff on it.
That's sick.
And I want one so bad just because I love it. It's so dope.
Right.
I wanna get more into technology, like just building like little trinkets and stuff. I wanna learn how to do that stuff. And my goal ultimately is to incorporate it with my art and make little art robots, and paint the outside, and then they can talk and stuff.
That's so cool.
But I don't know enough about it. But lately, I've been learning a lot. So I guess that's my hobby, learning about technology stuff.
Yeah,
And
totally.
I have this little Discord server that's just me. I'm the only person in it, and I have all these channels where I'm like, this is this research about this and how I want to build the robot face.
That's a great idea.
And so that's my hobby. I think I just do it so much. I never thought of it as a hobby or outside
Right.
thing I do.
Yeah, but it is external. It's not directly making art.
Right.
But yeah, it's influencing your art or at least inspiring you to do a different approach. I think what's
Also-
super rare. Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say running around in VR.
Yeah.
Now that I have an Oculus, you can go on Google Earth
That's
and go anywhere you want, and it pops up as 3D. So you're in wherever you want to go, and it looks real. Like it looks, some places though, if you go, it looks a little blurry and messed up.
Yeah,
But if you go to a very populated place, like you can go to New York and walk around
that's
and like
so
look,
insane.
and it is so strange. I did a project about New York and I just went in VR and looked around because I said, well, I can't go there right
Right.
now. So I'm just going to go there in VR and look around. And before, for reference pictures of places, I would Google this place and try to look through images and find a good image. But now I can just go in VR and just screenshot what I'm looking at as my reference image, which is
That's
nuts.
so sick. I actually was going to ask you about that. I want to get started with that. That seems like what you said, so inspiring and fun. And especially with me, I use a lot of architecture in my work. So if I could just like walk around VR, find like real life places and have that influence my work.
Dude, if you were in VR, you would love that. Dude, that's perfect for you. Dang, I wish I could just like give you my headset right now and let you borrow it, but you're thousands of miles away. Yeah, you can go anywhere you want and just look. You can even go in museums. I went to some art museum there and I walked around the art museum and like looked around. And it was so crazy. So I feel if you wanted to study nature, you could go to a field and just look around.
Right.
You really should try that. It
Honestly.
opened my mind to so much. Or running around in Somnium Space and you can
Right.
see these buildings that people made and it's a little art galleries and stuff. Like I went to Mocha Museum of Crypto and you can see all this art that I see on Super Rare on my phone, but now I'm seeing it up close. It's beautiful and it moves, like the painting moves out of the frame, I guess, that you would think of in real life. And sound comes from it and you don't see like little speakers that, it just is there and you're so immersed. Especially when you're in there a while, you kind of forget about everything.
I can imagine. There's like this weird, I'm not like anti-tech at all. Like I love tech, but there's a part of me where it's like, oh, it's not real. And I just want to experience the real thing. But like, I don't know about you, where you're at, but in Calgary, there's like a 3-week lockdown. So if I had a VR set right now, I could be in New York looking at art.
Dude, you need to get one. You need to.
Do. Which one do you have?
I have the Oculus Rift, which a lot of people don't like the Oculus because of Facebook and they make you like connect with Facebook. But the Oculus, I have the Rift, so it has wires. The only reason I bought it is because the Oculus Quest 2 wasn't out yet, the wireless one that's newer and lighter. And I said, I want it right now. So I just went to the store and bought whatever headset was there, which was the Rift. But yeah, I want to get the Quest 2. It's wireless, which is nuts to me that there's no wires. Mine, I have wires, so like I get nervous that I'll like, get stuck. But yeah, I want to get that. You have to. We could run
we'll have
around.
to talk about that more.
We could run around and like play video games.
We could like VR paint together.
Yes. I tried Tilt Brush, Quill. There's so many. You can sculpt. There's sculpture ones.
Yeah.
Where you can sculpt. I haven't tried it because I don't know. I haven't had time. And if I were to do it, I just want to sit and do it. It looks beautiful. You really should try it. I played a boxing game.
Oh,
and I got scared because there's some boxing games on there that don't look real and it looked fake. But I got this one, dude. It looks real. I heard so many podcasts or videos of people saying how VR looks real. Dude, this one, I downloaded the boxing game and in the menu, there's like a coach that stands next to you. And I turned and he looked like a man, like a scary like man was in my room. And I went, and I got so scared. Then whatever, go through the menu, press play. And it starts with this guy just in your face going like this. And it's not like he stays in front of you the whole time. He will go behind you. So you have to turn around to fight him. And when you punch him, it like makes these noises and it's so scary. And he punched me and I got so scared I fell on the floor. because it felt so real. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain to you. It felt real. Like someone was gonna punch me in the face. And the noise, you're like, oh, because like your headphones vibrate, and you're like, oh my god. So yeah.
That sounds amazing. I want to do. There's like deep sea diving games where you can like
Whoa.
swim in VR. That'd be so much fun.
That sounds scary. Like if you imagine you see a shark, like
Dude,
just,
I would love that.
I would cry. But that sounds so fun. I almost cried. Okay, look, the boxing game. I almost cried because I got so scared.
You're
Or the
not a fighter.
The demo, just the demo, where there's like a little thing and it throws stuff at you and you have to throw it. I got so scared just because it looks so real and it comes up to you this close. So, but that's how real it is that I almost cried. Like it felt that real.
Yeah. I used to bring it back to art, like even just seeing art like in a VR space, like having work in one of the VR galleries that we work with, like just being there, walking around in that little world. That'd be so inspiring just to like be face to face with it.
Yeah, and especially like the 3D artists, you just see like the front of it, or you can like move around the little sculpture.
Yeah.
But when you're in VR, you don't have to drag and move it. You just walk around it, and you can really appreciate the 3D work that they made, which is really cool to me.
Totally. Yeah, I'm starting to really, I say starting to, but I have been for a while, is really appreciating digital art in a different way. I guess it started with Super Rare, just like seeing all these new ways to create art, but like going into VR and actually getting to like experience it more like a physical work. That's gonna like, I could really see that inspiring a lot of future work of mine.
It'll be so fun. There was this shooting game, I wanted to download it, but I knew that because I played the boxing game when I got scared, I said, I cannot play this game. I'm gonna get so scared.
Yeah.
I want to download a scary game and freak myself out.
Oh, that, I don't know.
But the problem is too, is that I'm in my room and I'm like scared I'm gonna bump into my desk and break everything.
Oh, could you imagine
So my
you're playing
ultimate
like a
dream
spooky
is
game?
to have a room. Oh, I would like break my head open. I'd be like, ah! So my dream is I want a room with nothing, just so I can run around.
Yeah, and like locks on the door so no one can mess with you.
Yeah. Oh my god, my grandma, she came in my room because I got a package. So she came in my room and she didn't see that I don't know how she didn't see, but I was wearing my headset. and she tapped me on the shoulder and I was playing my boxing game. I did not punch my grandma in the face, but I got so scared I said, ah, like I was like, it's real.
She got lucky. She almost got punched.
That's so funny.
God damn. All right. It's been about an hour. I think that was really good.
I think so too. We talked about a lot. We have more on our list, but they're all stuff that I don't want to talk about a little bit. I want to expand.
Yeah, totally. We could do like, even if we just do one episode about one topic. I know some people might not find the topic interesting, but for someone like an hour of something they don't get to like hear people talk about, that would be so cool.
Yeah, sometimes I'm listening to a podcast and they move on too fast and I get sad.
Just over.
Plus, we're doing 2 a week now with guests, and there would be space to talk about stuff a little bit before.
Yeah.
Just to figure out how we're going to structure those.
Totally. I'm curious to see how our first guest episode is going to go.
Yeah. I don't know if we'll be awkward and ask awkward questions or just...
No.
Or maybe it'll be more fun because there's 3 people, so we're all just...
And we don't have to come up with topics. We can just ask them
we
questions,
just ask about
and
their
then
life.
they have to talk.
But yeah, also, if y'all have guest suggestions, leave it in the comments. And just questions for us about either us personally or just our thoughts on certain art things or life things, because taking risks is more so a life thing.
Yeah. Yeah, reading the comments has been one of my favorite things about this, honestly.
Yeah, you guys are so nice, and I can't believe y'all listened to the whole thing. So thank you so much.
Yeah, how'd you get this far? Like, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, y'all didn't get bored or y'all didn't get annoyed. So
Yeah.
thank you very much.
All right, that was episode 3.
Yeah, episode 3. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
And then we pretend to talk, and then the outro plays over top of us.
Yeah.
It's like Ellen.
Yeah, because at the end of every podcast, they're like, they get up and like, or something.
Yeah. All right. What button do I click to stop recording? I'm so nervous.
Square.
Okay.